Hello lovely simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are doing kind of another holiday build, so this looks a little different than my other ones. But as I was planning out my videos for this week, I was thinking, not all places around the world are snowy and wintry during Christmas time. That's how I always imagine Christmas and the winter time, because that's how my world is, or my area is. I live in America, and usually it does get pretty snowy in my state around this time. Not always, but usually. But I know that there are plenty of people who don't actually see any snow around this time of the year because, they're on the opposite side of us. So I wanted to kind of, play off of that a little bit. And initially I was going to do this house, and then I was also going to do one in Sulani, but I obviously just didn't have this time. This house honestly took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So I'm calling this Oasis Holiday, and this is a kind of Mediterranean influenced house. I feel like I always build that kind of house here in Oasis Springs, but that's the kind of homes that are around it, so I always feel like that's just what goes here, because almost all of the pre-built houses, except for the ones like farther in the not so affluent area of town, I will say, besides those houses, all of them, the like more affluent style ones, are definitely Mediterranean inspired, except for the land grabs. That's very modern. But so whenever I'm in this world, I just feel like I want to build that kind of a style. And I also had a couple of different reference pictures on Pinterest, as I always do, that I was looking at. So yeah, this is another very large Mediterranean home, and I decided not to split this one into two videos because, I don't know, it just wasn't really working for me. When I sped it up as fast as I usually do, it was like 30 minutes, and so cutting out things brought it down to 25, and if I cut that in half, it was like 12 and a half minutes per video, and a lot of my videos recently have only been 12 and a half minutes long, and I don't usually do videos that short. Usually mine are somewhere between like 18 and 20 minutes, so I didn't feel like, I don't know, I just didn't think, because cutting the video directly in half would not have been half exterior, half interior, so then I would have had to uncut some of the exterior to make it longer, to make it some of its own video, so I did decide just to leave it as one. I hope you guys don't mind. It's not like I had to cut that much out of the video anyway. A lot of it was just kind of like extra stuff that just took me way too long. But as you can see, the shape of the house has come together quite quickly. I have this little like driveway area that I built, and it's using the Jungle Adventure tiles. And the shape of the house is kind of like a U, but the left side is just the garage, which you actually won't see me decorate because I forgot about it, so you won't see me decorate it. I promise if you download this house from the gallery, it is in fact decorated. I went back and I did it after I filmed the video, and I think I might have some screenshots of it at the end. But then we have this section over to the right here. Now, when I was doing the exterior, I hadn't quite done the floor plan yet, so it doesn't really necessarily make a whole bunch of sense, because this door that I'm currently decorating here technically leads into the master bathroom. Now, that is odd. I've never seen that before in a house, but what I was thinking is, because one of the parents for this household is a musician, what I was thinking is that maybe sometimes they got home from tour really late, or they got home from gigs really late, so instead of going in through the front entrance and making a whole bunch of ruckus in like the family room and the kitchen and all of that stuff, they just went straight into, their master bathroom. They took their bath in their jacuzzi, and then they went straight to bed. So that's what I was thinking. That's kind of the storyline I was going with when I kind of made that boo-boo, because literally the entire right side of this house is just a grand master bedroom, and I really like how the room ends up turning out. It's a bedroom that then leads into a walk-in closet that then leads into the bathroom, but it was kind of weird for me at first that door led right into the bathroom, but I think with storytelling you can kind of get around it a little bit. And then right now we're doing some of the landscaping. The landscaping's very basic. It's just a couple of shrubs and some palm trees. And then over here, I really wanted to use this new, I think it's called pagoda, that we got, and with the new base game update. So I just kind of merged it into the little walkway that I have here going from the garage into the laundry room. And I think that it looks really nice. It's a little odd because the house roofing is black and that pagoda is a dark brown. But because of the colors on the sides, like on the walls of the house, I don't really think you can tell all that much, and I really liked how the shape of it looked, so I decided to leave it. It also merged really well into this space after I sized it down. Like, I was a little worried that it wasn't going to fit, but I think it did a nice job. And then going over here, we are now going to start on with the interior. We're starting with decorating this little front porch area. I do put some wreaths up because, like I said, this was kind of my envision for like a warmer holiday season, so I do put some wreaths up, and I try to get them to match the front door area, so I do them in the darker color scheme, the red and the black and the gold. And then over here I'm using some of the Jungle Adventure plants and the Jungle Adventure jars as well, and I'm going to shrink down some plants to put in these little vases over here. I have been doing that quite a lot, but I haven't been using that new base game plant pot, wow, that we got, the one from the Hispanic Heritage Month update, but I use it a lot in this build because it is so pretty. I just haven't had a build where the interior theme kind of like matched the style of it, but I thought that it went really well with this more like Mediterranean style. And then going over here for the front entrance, I'm just doing a little table with a mirror, and yes, I'm using my new favorite Snowy Escape mirror because I love that thing. It sits really high up on the wall, but if you use that spiky plant from Jungle Adventure, you cannot tell. And that is my favorite trick to do with that mirror, is to put that spiky plant underneath of it, because I just, without that plant, it just looks way too tall. But then going over here, I get a simple coat rack and then a painting, and then I'm pretty sure I end up putting a light there. I use these Jungle Adventure ones that hang on the wall. And then I also add a little seating area, and I make the plant just a little bigger to cover up that space a little bit. And then cutting over into the living room. So I do actually cut out quite a bit of me finagling around this living room because I decided that this is where it was going to be. And then I didn't like any placement for anything, so I literally spent almost like 20 minutes just trying to rearrange the furniture in here. And it's not my favorite layout, the one that I end up with this couch over here on the left and these two chairs. I definitely think that I probably could have done a little bit better, but I don't know. I was going to use the Snowy Escape couch, but I just really wasn't feeling it with this. Even though I used their fireplace, I wasn't feeling those wood tones with the interior colors that I was using, so I decided to go with Jungle Adventure. But I didn't want to do all matchy-matchy. I wanted there to be a little bit of a breakup, so I decided to use those Seasons chairs, and I think it looks okay. I just think I probably could have done a little bit better if I was in a better headspace. I don't know. I was doing this before work one day, so I wasn't as focused, I think, as I should have been. And then going over here, this is the little reading nook area. Now, I don't actually get technically a bookshelf in here, but I do use, with one of the updates we got with Tiny Living, the book decorations, I think technically they're under clutter, but those now act as bookshelves. So what I did is I built a custom shelf unit using these spa day pieces, and I kind of just shrunk them down and stacked them on top of each other, and I do end up, I think, leaving it like this. Okay, so I took the right one away, so it's just this like little small custom unit, and I place a couple of different objects on here, some plants and some lamps and stuff, and then I also place one of those book clutter decorations that also functions as like a reading bookshelf, so that way they could go ahead and have some reading. And you saw I placed those chairs and that stool there as well, so that way they could go ahead and have a little place to sit. And then I also have the Christmas tree. I did not decorate it. I mean, obviously while I was building I couldn't decorate it, but I didn't go back in and decorate it for the screenshots either, because I didn't have any family move into this house, so I figured that you guys could choose how you wanted to do the decorations, because I pretty much left them black and white. So if you guys wanted to go back in and change all the colors around and kind of mess with it and make it a little bit more festive, but I left it black and white because that was the theme of the house, and I kind of felt like these people would not sacrifice their theme of their living for their Christmas decorations, if you know what I mean. Like, and that's not like a bad thing. I just think that they would definitely go with full aesthetics of the house over festive decorations. But then going into here, this is the kitchen, and it's probably the smallest kitchen I've ever built in The Sims. I usually make really large kitchens, but for some reason I made this one super tiny considering how large this house is. Now technically there is another kitchen area outside, so that kind of makes up for it, but at the same time this is so small. But I used the Jungle Adventure counters and these Jungle Adventure shelves, and I was a little annoyed because I finally, I don't usually use these shelves, and I finally started to try and put clutter on them, and you can't put any clutter on the like second or third tier shelves. You can only put them on the very top. It doesn't work with any of like the middle shelves, and I was getting a little frustrated because I just had these empty shelves. And I know in theory I could have put the OMSP shelf in and just kind of done it myself. But since I didn't put all the decorations on the top shelf, like I didn't fill up all the slots, I would have had to fill up all the slots at the top shelf and then angle my OMSP shelf to the right level and then fill in all of those and then delete all the ones on the top. And I just felt like that was a lot of work. So I decided just to leave them. I do have the one shelf that had the pre-cluttered items, so that kind of filled in the space a little bit. And then I clutter up the 2 corner counters and then leave that one empty next to the sink so your sim can actually cook on it. And then going over here, this is just the dining room area. So rather large dining room. I end up getting a bar in here too. Looking back at it, I almost feel like I probably should have made this the living room, but I also then don't know what I would have put in that other area. So like the house makes sense. It's a different type of floor plan for me. I think that's why I'm having a little bit of an issue with it, because I usually put the kitchen and the dining room on the right and then like the living room like right in front of those two. And so I think this is it's just throwing me off because it's backwards. But going over here, I'm just placing a couple of decorations. I got some Christmassy decorations, or Simsmasy decorations, I should say, up on that little dining hutch that we got from Jungle Adventure, I believe that one's from. And I'm using these palm trees again, merged into the base game pots. And right there, you can see me, I'm like flipping my camera around. I'm just trying to make sure that these plants aren't merging into the wall, because they are really large plants, and I can never fit them properly because they always merge into things that don't really make any sense. But then going over here, like I said, I do get a little bar area into here, and I don't do anything fancy with it. I just place a couple of bar stools around, and I think a painting in the background. Sorry guys, I need to get some water there. That was what that weird pause was. And I think I've talked about this before, where it's easier to do pauses when you have a face cam on, because you guys can see what I'm doing, and it's not just this random silence in the background. But no, I just had to get some water. And then I'm placing some more holiday decorations back here. There's some of the cards that I think your kids can make, and I'm just placing them underneath the picture frames. And then also getting some candles from Seasons in there as well. And then going over here, this is going to be the door that leads into kind of like the mudroom / laundry room area. So this is just like a little teeny tiny room that then leads out onto where I put that pagoda, like the walkway between the garage and the house. So I thought that would be kind of cute to have like a little area where your Sims could kind of like wash up. I don't actually think I end up putting a sink in here, which I definitely meant to, but I thought it'd be kind of cute to have this like little side room here that's like straight from the garage, and they can just come in here, you know, take off their shoes, sit down for a little bit, you know, maybe relax before they, you know, enter the house. I don't know, but I've always kind of had a room like this, whether it's a foyer or like an actual mudroom in houses. It's very common around the area where I live, so that's why I usually place them. I've had some people in comments question them because they don't have them where they live, but I guess that just goes to show you like how different places do different things, because like I've always had them in houses, so it's not uncommon around here, and like it's so common that I feel weird not placing rooms like that inside my builds. But yeah, so just, I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting that some people have rooms like that, some people don't. It just kind of shows how different we are. And then going into here, this is the office. So I said earlier that I thought one of the parents was a musician, and I thought the other one was maybe a writer or a journalist. Like maybe they traveled the world, and that's why they had like such a Mediterranean style home, is because maybe they did a lot of, you know, different stories in the Mediterranean, and they fell in love with that area and with like the culture and the scenery and everything, so they wanted to kind of bring that back home into Oasis Springs. And then this over here is the downstairs bathroom, the main bathroom I should say, because there is the master bathroom as well. And this is just a simple, it has a toilet and a sink. I don't believe I get a shower in here. I think this is just a half bath. And then I get a little plant over here just across from the sink. I'm pretty sure that sink is still usable. If not, just move which countertop it's sitting on, because it's just the plants that are in the way. But then going over here, I add a rug and then a little hallway table. I hate decorating hallways, which is why I try to do open floor plans, but I just, for this, it ended up working better with the closed floor plan, so I had to figure out somehow to decorate this hallway, and I decided on this little table with some garland on it, you know, trying to bring the festiveness downstairs or over here a little bit. I've been having an issue where with my festive builds, I give up halfway through and I stop being festive and I just forget to place decorations. So I keep trying to just place like little things here and there so I can, even if I forget really big things, it can look as though the whole house is decorated. I don't know. Do any of you guys have that issue? Let me know in the comments down below. When you start decorating houses in The Sims for like the different seasons, do you forget halfway through like I do, or are you normal? I don't know. But anyway, going into here, I quickly changed the color of the bedroom. I was initially going to go with blue walls, but then when I picked out the blue bed, I thought that it was just way too much color. I don't know. I don't have a lot of color. I mean, I say that and then literally my entire room is just reds and greens and fall colors, but I don't usually have a lot of bright colors, I should say, in my life. I don't really like them, so I'm trying to get used to using them in The Sims a little bit more because I know that that's something a lot of people are interested in, but I keep gravitating more towards, like, you know, my muted neutrals. But I did use the colorful bed. Give me that one, please, because I did end up using a very colorful bed, and I think one of the kids' rooms upstairs is very colorful as well, so I'm excited for you guys to see that one. And then in here, this is the walk-in closet that I was talking about. So I do get a mirror and then a couple of plants. And then I was going to try and do like some built-in unit, but I decided just to do these shelves here, these base game shelves instead over a dresser. And then I think I don't think I put anything on the sides. I just put a couple of clutter decorations on the dresser itself. And then in here, I just get a little bench just so they can sit down and maybe try on different shoes in front of the mirror, or if like one of the Sims is getting dressed, the other can be sitting and talking to them. Thought that was kind of cute. And then in here is the master bath. And like I said, this does have access from the exterior, which I did not plan on doing when I initially built this, obviously, but it is what it is. And it has this beautiful sink area. I'm actually really happy with how I did these sinks. It's the 2 Jungle Adventure ones that are then like merged together with the counter. And then I have the spa bath. This is the base game one. I don't really like any of the other ones that we got, the triangle ones. The one from Get Famous is just really round and I don't know, it doesn't work for me. But this one actually, it also had slots for candles to go into, which I thought was such a cool thing that the Sims team added, that they had just these slots up there, because a lot of people would use candles when they were using that bathtub, so I thought that was just, it was kind of like a nice little touch. And then going up here, you can see that there is a landing area. It is open to the foyer downstairs, so there's like the large hanging light, and then a little seating area. And then over here, I wasn't quite sure what to put because it's just kind of this extra space that leads onto the outdoor balcony. So I do place some Christmas decorations, and then I do believe another couch. Yeah, the couch that matches the chairs. And then there are 2 bathrooms upstairs, so this house does have 3.5 baths because both of the ones upstairs are full. And there's this one that has the shower and then a sink, a toilet, and it has the other Jungle Adventure sink, the one that actually matches the countertops, and this one has the same one that I used downstairs in the master bath, the more wooden one. And then over here, this is the door to the parents' music room. I wanted there to be kind of a plaque that maybe said like "be quiet when light is on" or something, so that way they would know when their father was or their mother was recording, because I thought that it would definitely be like their home recording studio. So I do place a couple windows. I know that that's a little unrealistic because you'd want as little noise as possible, but I figured maybe he had it soundproofed and he had like curtains that he could pull down over them. And then I place a couple of guitars, a microphone, a keyboard, and then I also end up adding a little desk just so they can write their music on it. I end up putting one of those clutter books. I don't actually think anyone's going to be able to use that desk because I placed that clutter book, but it really was just for decoration anyway. I wasn't anticipating anyone having to use it. And then going over into the 2 kids' bedrooms. So this little girl or boy, I definitely figured wanted to be a musician like their parent. Like they really like music and they like to learn to play music with their parent, and so they definitely wanted to be, more along that lines of a creative. Both of the kids are definitely more creative people, but I definitely thought this one was more into music than art, whereas the other one is more into art than music. And none of them want to be writers like the other parent, which I think might annoy the other parent just a little bit, but not too much. But I also placed a couple of activities around, just like one of the school projects, and then a toy box, and then I placed some lights up here. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I kept trying out different things, but I did decide to go with the lights. And then in here is what I thought would be more of like a teenager's bedroom, mostly because I gave him a double bed. But obviously if you switched it to a single bed, it could be a kid's room, or you could give the kid a double bed. Honestly, it doesn't matter. But I thought definitely, like I said, I thought that they were more of an artist. So I did give them an easel and then a desk to do their homework at, and I ended up giving them a laptop also to kind of distinguish between kid and teenager. I definitely thought the teenager would have a laptop to do their homework, or maybe they're a young adult and they haven't quite moved out yet, but they're going to classes or something. That could be a cool storyline to tell. And I'm going into debug to kind of grab out some different art supplies from the debug menu, because there are a couple different things. You can see those paintbrushes that I pulled out, and then I had a crayon, and then I grabbed this clay sculpture, and I'm not quite sure if your Sims will pick that up and try to play with it. I know if you have the lump of clay they do, but I don't know if you place that debug one if they do. So I do apologize if your Sims just randomly start playing with, with clay. But I went ahead and I changed the color of the bedroom just a little bit, because I wanted this one to be a little bit more colorful, because since I figured that they were an artist, I definitely thought that they would have a little bit more color in their life. So I did change the bed, and I gave them a feature wall of some wood, and then I'm doing these city living pictures, and I thought that maybe this was their favorite artist, and they had a couple of their canvases, so they just placed them on their wall. And then out here on the balcony, just a simple chess table and 2 couches, just like a little seating area. And then we are moving downstairs, and like I said, so the downstairs we do end up getting another kitchen, and then we also have this really cool fireplace area that we do a seating, like a little bit of a seating thing in front of. And I really like how the outdoor looks. I think the outdoor might be my favorite. I mean, except for this little part over here, because as you can see, there's just these 2 large windows that kind of face into the downstairs bathroom. But I put some curtains up, and obviously it won't actually affect your Sims because they don't really use the windows. They just kind of sit there, so it doesn't really matter in terms of, Sims. But if it bothers you, then you can go ahead and just delete those 2 windows. But besides that, I just placed a couple more outdoor decorations, and then that is it for this build. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!